What a glorious morning out this morning. Now, before we get started, I'm gonna go make a coffee. Welcome to the Vodkast. Okay, and we're back with my favorite mug in the whole world. Do you have a favorite mug? This one, there's just something about it. I found these on clearance at Cracker Barrel. I think I may have even talked about these mugs before. They were on clearance for like $1.40 each, and they're like a, I don't know if you can probably hear that. They're like a thick ceramic or whatever they are, and they're just the color and everything about them, and they keep your hands warm in the winter, but it keeps the handle cool when you pour your coffee into the cup. So why am I here today? I said when I started these, if I didn't have something to talk about, I wasn't going to do them. However, I got up this morning and it was really nice out, and I stepped outside and I got some fresh air, I made a coffee, I got some laundry going, I got the dishes done, I got work done that I normally would have to do tomorrow for lynchburgdoes.com. Stop on by and check it out. Especially if you live in Lynchburg. If you live in Lynchburg, you should definitely stop by lynchburgdoes.com. Not like I'm pushing the brand or anything, I'm just saying every little bit helps. Little foot traffic. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Okay, so let's talk about patience. Just for a moment. Oh good, you were patient enough to wait for me. See, that's what I'm talking about. I remember back in the day making coffee. And a lot of you probably still traditionally do it this way. Or maybe even use a percolator or something. We can go way back if you want. I'll go old school with you. We can throw down. My point is, when I used to make coffee, when I started drinking coffee, you had to make a pot of coffee. You didn't have to make a pot of coffee, but if you didn't, it was just in my mind, it was harder to regulate. I really, a lot of things in life as you get older stop being measured and just, there's assumptions. For example, when I make my White Russians, which I don't make very often anymore, by the way, only a few days a week I've been drinking those. When I make them, I don't measure out in like a liqueur glass or whatever the size is. In my head, I already know exactly. I've counted it. Well, there's a certain speed that I count at. I think we all have a cadence to our lives and how we carry ourselves, and the pace of our walk and the swing of our arms. And so I know the feel of it, and I know the look of it, and so I don't measure things anymore. The fuck is my point? Oh yeah, my point was this. I used to be a lot more patient. Probably 10 years ago. Let's say about 10 years ago. I used to be a lot more patient. And I still, at that time, would make a pot of coffee. My analogy is that now I make a Keurig. Normally with Keurigs, you just get the pods, you throw them in, but that's wasteful, so I always get the refillable cups. So to a certain degree, it's still kind of like making coffee the old school way, like making a pot of coffee. But back in the day, you'd have to get out your filter, and in my house, no one ever emptied the coffee thing, so the next morning you're having to empty it, clean it, dry it, because you don't want to rip the filter before you put the coffee in. Put the coffee in, measure it out, depending on how many cups of coffee you're making that morning. Is it just you? Is it you and 7 people? You never know. I've been trying to make a conscious effort to say anywho less, and if I do say it, edit it out in the process. It's like a crutch. And I think everybody has words and phrases they go to, but I would like to break that habit, if at all possible. Getting back to the point though, is it used to take 15, 20 minutes, maybe even a half hour to make coffee. Because from the beginning of the process of having to clean the pot out, which is, you know, you motherfuckers didn't clean it, to actually letting it drip brew, and if you're doing a whole pot, if you don't have a fancy coffee pot, you gotta wait for it to be done. Some of them have that little shut-off valve, so you have a few seconds to pour yourself a coffee. And now, the process is like 10 times easier. It's like As long as there's water in the Keurig, which it's right next to our sink, so you fill it with a hose, you're good to go. As long as you get a clean pod, which is never the case, you have to dump it out, rinse it out, dry it out, just like doing, making the actual cup, the top piece that you put the coffee in the coffee pot. I don't know the name of the part or the part number, or I'd order you all one and sign them. I'd sign them to my friends, Jason. The end. And then I'd walk away. We'd never see each other again. But it'd be a beautiful moment. We've lost patience as a society, think, as a whole. So, coming from a person who knew what it was like to be a patient person, yesterday I was riding this guy's ass going into Walmart. I was actually heading over to Goodwill. But he was going so slow, like dangerously slow. Like, to the point where if he wasn't there, I would know full well that I could make a turn I needed to make. But he was putting me in a position where I had to question that, and I'm like, all right. So I started to go, and then he slowed down, right? I realized that I've become a lot less patient, not just on the road, but in life in general. If I want a pot of coffee, if I want a cup of coffee, the process is easier, but I'm less inclined to make one unless I really, prod myself to get off my ass and make a cup of coffee. So we should all learn to try to be a little bit more patient. We're living in a society now where patience is simplified. Everything is at your fingertips. Like, there's no reason for stress and to not be patient. Yet we're less patient because it's not fast enough. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Have I mentioned how much I really like these cups? There's just something about them. Oh, it's like the perfect cup. It was made from my hands. Like, my hands just feel right on this cup. Oh, it's warm. What does it say at the bottom? I don't know. Pow pow. Paw paw. Oh. Giselle. Gussiel. Looks like it might be a German company. Let's talk about the coffee that's in the mug. Right now, it almost feels like it's leaving a film in my mouth. But in a way, it makes sense. Because I picked up this coffee yesterday. I have been dying to try this brand of coffee. However, it's always like $7 or $8. The coffee that I've been buying is only about $2.38 a pound, which it's not the best coffee. Next time I'm at Sam's, I really like their... It's cheap. You can get a giant can of it. It's delicious. So this is Deluxe Moon Pie Coffee. Oh, it's a nice little picture on the back, too. You can't really see it. Well, anywho, there is a picture on the back. This is the vanilla flavored one. They had vanilla or chocolate. In the world we live in, there are chocolate people, and there are vanilla people. I would say for the majority. But then there are people like me, who there is no defining line of whether I like one or the other better. Why? Because it depends on what it's on or with. Like, you can't just eat vanilla. Like, you could get a vanilla thing and drink it, but you'd be fucking grossed out as shit. Because you gotta put it in something and add sugar and eggs and whatever you're making. You could make a chocolate cake or a vanilla cake. Which one do I prefer? I could care less either way. I would much rather have a strawberry cake or some other unique, original flavored cake. But with that being said, there are some things that I would prefer, like, okay, here's a good one. No, that's not a good one because that's white chocolate. But when it's coffee related, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to go with a vanilla flavoring over a chocolate flavoring. Unless that chocolate flavoring is hot chocolate. Because if you mix hot chocolate and coffee together, you get a witch hazel or a witch's brew or something like that, a witch's nipple. And it's delicious and it's really good in the fall when it's cold and you're just, ooh, this is sweet and delicious and nice and I like it. So, getting back to the Deluxe Moon Pie coffee. It's only 10 ounces, so it's less than a normal bag. I think a normal bag is 16? I don't know. I have to look at it, but I know it's more than this. I could just... Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But this is 10 ounces of vanilla. True Southern goodness. Ground coffee. The original marshmallow sandwich. I love marshmallow flavored things. I've had some moon pies in my day. The banana moon pies are delicious. I really like them. But you can't overdo them because they do leave this weird film which is what this coffee is doing. Like, my tongue feels waxy, although I've had a sore throat all morning too, so it's hard to judge. But the flavor is really good, and the smell. This is okay. So here's another interesting thing about this. ADD much? The back, the way it seals, like it looks like a dog's bone. You tear this piece off, and then it just zips shut. I really like that because I noticed with a lot of the other coffees, you open it, and sometimes you end up ripping it, and you can't pour it because it's coming out holes that you made in the process of ripping it. Other times it works fine. I do like the fact that you can close it down, but I guess it doesn't really matter with this because it's pretty nice, well-made container, I will tell you that. The flavor was pretty good, but after, see, I don't know. Like, some people drink coffee without cream, just like some people like vanilla better than chocolate, so on and so forth. I drink my coffee relatively light. I didn't have to add much cream into this coffee to make it light. You're never gonna be able to see it unless I spill it out. Oop, I spilled it out. All right, you can kind of see that. The coffee's good. I wouldn't get it again though. It's not worth it. It was on sale for $4.99, and I thought, you know what? If I don't get it now, I'm never gonna get it, and then I'm gonna be wondering the rest of my life why I didn't get on that plane. It almost has a little bit of cinnamon in it. I swear to God. I mean, I just put a regular cream and sugar in this, but I'm tasting some kind of cinnamon. Funny story, and then I'm gonna go. I'm trying to get the focus back on my face here. Oh, it's grabbing Grayson as the focus. What the hell? Okay. For some reason, and I don't know how long it's been doing it, and actually, the funny, in the last video I did when I rewatched it, there was a scene where I said something like, yeah, let's put the focus back on me, because I say that a lot because I'm full of myself, or I pretend that I'm full of myself. Maybe it's a parody of an older me, I guess. We'll go with that. I was having trouble with the focus this time, and it's focusing down here for some reason. Like, hello, this is my McFly? This is weird. This is really, like, I never have this problem with this camera. It's usually just spot on, and there's some good light coming through the window right now, so I'll let it go. We'll just call it the lens this time. Cinnamon. We were at Grayson's game the other day, and Carol will do the concessions if we are the home team for the field that we're playing on that day. Normally Griffin will go in with her because he really enjoys doing that, and I'll take pictures the whole time. Well, this time there was this guy that came up and said, would you mind if my granddaughter came in there and did it with you for a little while on the back, just so she can get... That is sounding awful. Please let me correct myself. Can my daughter come help you with concessions? And so Carol said, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not, you're not supposed to have kids under 12 back there, but nobody gives a shit because who cares? And sometimes you don't have a choice. If you're there alone and you've got the other child with you and you've got two children, well, that child's going to have to be in there or you're not going to be doing concessions. Damn it. Somehow, one little girl turned into four, not annoying little girls, I shouldn't say that. They were fine. It was a mix of annoyances amongst them. There was some that weren't and some that were. That just happens with little kids. Nonetheless, Carol ended up with these four little girls. So I was there helping her open up the place because you got to take these pins out. And it's a weird little setup. It's like a cart thing, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, it's more like a shed thing. But it's got this drop-down window in the front and a little, you know what I'm talking about. So they were telling us their names, and I couldn't tell you any of their names right now because I'm horrible at that. Four girls were in there all spouting out their names. Then they wanted to know our names. So Griffin said his name. I don't remember what I said. Probably something snarky and just ridiculous. That's just the way I talk. Like, I talk to people in a very weird way. It's my way of breaking the ice because I'm not very good. I don't have social anxiety, but there's a touch of it in there. I could talk to a crowd of 1 million people and just feel empowered. But if I have to talk to like a small group of people on an individual like basis, I get really awkward and weird. So I make up jokes. Carol said, why don't you guess my name? And so they're spouting off names, and we're laughing, ha ha ha. Finally, Carol says, all right, or one of them asks, what does it start with? And we're like, okay, it starts with a C. So they start spouting out C names, you know, Cindy, or chamomile or whatever it was. I can't remember at the time. Then this one girl looked at Carol and said, cinnamon. And so we all start laughing. Carol and I, for obvious reasons, because it sounds like a stripper name. And so as the laughter's starting to die down, I said, no, that's just her stage name. And then Carol was just, I don't know, she was mortified. I think she found it funny. But then I think we all realized that I made a stripper name joke around a bunch of little kids and got away with it. So it was funny, but it could have backfired if one of them was like, oh, that's my mom's name. Or, you know, she works at da-da-da-da. Well, it's pretty snazzy outside. I do have a little bit more things I need to actually physically get done around the house today. And after I finish that, I'll get to editing this, hopefully. This has just been fun this morning, drinking coffee, sitting and talking, but I've got work to do, and I'm all out of bubble gum. If you guys are loving watching these as much as I am loving making them, then please consider subscribing and hit that little bell button next to the subscribe button. That'll notify you, inform you, let you know when I have a new video out. I feel really weird saying smash the like button. If you like this video, gently caress that like button. You don't have to smash it. It didn't do anything to you. Just like. And if you disliked it, you can hit the dislike, but I'd prefer you didn't. Just know this. I still love you. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys take care of each other. Enjoy the world around you and the time you have in it, because it's going to end up being shorter than you want it to be. I know that's depressing, but hey, live life to the fullest as long as you can. That's what I say. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take care, and I will see you guys a little bit further on down the road in the next video. Peace.